There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino Is the Name. Yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino Is the Name, and I wanted to talk about chasing the big check. A lot of us get complacent. A lot of us forget that the small checks mean just as much as the big checks. And a lot of us are steadily dreaming about the big check, the big check, the big check. And because of that, it holds us back from maximizing all of those small checks that we could be getting. To give you an example. So there are people who have got comfortable in their position, in their job, in their lifestyle, and there is opportunity for them to move to a different location, position, something like that. It might be a slight advancement, but not that big advancement. Like maybe it's a $5,000 raise to go to this other section, and they're waiting for that job that's going to give them that $40,000, $50,000 advancement, and that job may never come. That job may never come. And so they don't value that $5,000 raise. They don't value that $10,000 raise. They sit and they just wait. They just wait and they wait in that one position until they're old or until they end up being forced out. And they have missed so many opportunities to level up. Even things like maybe that new position would take you to that next level, but it's going to take 3 to 5 years for you to get to that next level. So they'll say, nah, I'll wait until that one thing that I'm waiting on to come available. And doing all of that throughout all of those years, all of those small checks that they would have got, those extra, that little extra money every time, that little extra money adds up, and they've missed out on $250,000 over the course of so many years, an extra $250,000 over the next couple of years, because they've been waiting for that big check that may never ever come. And so instead of going ahead, moving into that newer position, or moving into that newer situation, or respecting that $5,000 and $10,000 raise, respecting that extra little hustle that they can put in, instead of respecting that, they sit and they wait on that big check, and it may never come. And that is one of the issues that I have with my culture. My culture want that big check, man. That big check. Like if you're not talking big numbers, then a lot of people aren't interested. Everybody wants to be a rapper or singer and get a deal because of that big check, when they should have been respecting that opportunity to get that small money that allowed them. When I'm talking about small money for artists, I mean like maybe they get $500 to perform in a small room, but instead they're still waiting to perform for the Grammys, and they're almost unwilling to accept anything less. Man, what I'm trying to tell you, you can make a living off of those small checks, a good living. So in my situation, a lot of people know that government employees were displaced, and they might have been getting that quote unquote big check, but they didn't respect all of those small checks, those $200 or $300 they could have made on Amazon. They didn't respect that Uber check. They didn't respect all of those small checks enough to try to just already have something in place, to already be like getting those little small checks. And those little small checks got a lot of us government employees who weren't stressed out about the government being shut down. A lot of those small checks allow us to maintain our constant lifestyle because we respected those small checks and we had those small checks coming. And this isn't saying that, this is true for all government employees, because some of them just had enough money saved up and prepared and everything like that. But I'm here to tell you that those small checks do add up. I have multiple streams of income, and those little $200, $300, $600 here, $500 there, those things add up. Those things add up. I had a side check that was as big as my normal check from my position, and those things happen, and those things, things like, the shutdown, those things can happen. Even though you may think that it's far-fetched or whatever, those things can happen. But just don't get caught up with the big check and lose sight of the small checks. It's very important that we as a people start respecting our position, respecting our situation, and trying to get as many of those small checks. Every little bit helps. I used to have this conversation with my mom, and she used to always be talking about buying something that was crazy expensive. Like, I don't know exactly what it was, but just as an example, let's say she was talking about buying a Lamborghini. She wasn't, but let's just say she was talking about buying a Lamborghini. And I would be like, "Mom, how you gonna buy a Lamborghini?" And she was like, you don't know, I might buy one. I said, how you gonna do that? Like, not saying that you can't do it, but what's the plan? And she said, well, I might hit the lottery. I said, well, Mom, you don't play the lottery, So if we still waiting on the check from the lottery, but you don't even play the lottery, then, how are we really just talking now, So it's a lot of people who are still trying to get into the NFL, and you see them at the gym, and it's been several years after high school, and they're still working out. They didn't go to college even, or maybe they did go to college, but they're still working out. They're still trying to get into the NFL, and not saying that it can't happen, but what's wrong with playing overseas? What's wrong with, being a coach somewhere, becoming a personal trainer? What's wrong with doing some of these other things that you might be missing out on because, you're focused on something that you're not even, because a lot of those people working out, and then they don't have an agent. They don't have any connections. They're steadily working out, and they're just searching online for somebody who can help them out. And there's nothing wrong with that, but still focus on the small checks though. Don't be living in your grandma's basement, or don't be missing out on other opportunities because you're still just waiting and waiting and waiting on that check to come that may never come. I mean, it might come for some people, but you don't have to be, I don't want to say disrespectful, but you don't have to be disrespectful to the small money. You know what I'm saying? That small money adds up, man. I'm telling you. So anyway, if you didn't get anything out of this video, maybe this video wasn't for you, but sometimes I think that our people just need to take time and look at the small check and respect the small check. I have never received a large check. When I mean large, I've never received a check that was $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000. I've never received a large check before. The largest check I received was about $7,600 and something. It's the biggest check I ever had. And everything else has just been a bunch of small checks. And I'm telling you, there are people who've been waiting on big checks, As a matter of fact, if you waited on a check, let's say you got $100,000 coming. Some people do. Let's say you got $100,000 coming. Some people quit their job. They don't do anything, or they just sit and they wait on that check for years, right? And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 years for that check to come. But in 2 years, if you had to wait on a check to come that was 2 years old, then that's really $50,000 a year. I mean, you could have went and worked and made that, and been living better than you have been living the last 2 years. Because now when that money comes in, really it's just replacing money that you missed. And, and of course, there are people who still work, get their small checks, and then that big check still come. And so it's a beautiful situation. We were just talking about a lady who just got $200,000 that she was owed. And had she been sitting around just waiting on that money, I mean, it would have been a horrible experience because she had to wait years for that money. But she wasn't, and she had a great career, probably had some other stuff going on, get that $200,000. So that's just really extra money. But respect those small checks, man. Y'all respect y'all situation. Don't disrespect your money. Don't disrespect different situations. You don't know. I know a lady who was making 30-some thousand a year, and she had more money than the people who was making 85,000. saved. She had over 30,000 saved. And there were people who were making 80,000 a year, and you know, they had been making that for like years and years, but they was living like they was making more than that. And you know, those people would almost look down on her because they thought her position was below, you know, because she made less than them. But truth be told, she was in a much better financial situation because she respected her money very differently. And if you don't get anything out of this, man, just know to respect your small check, respect those small checks, respect all that little money, you know, respect that little Uber check, respect it all, you know. Don't be a fool. A fool in his money, they say a fool in his money will soon part. Don't be a fool with your money, you know. Don't get caught out here waiting on that big check, chasing that big check and get left in the wind. Anyway, right now you watch Casino Is the Name, and I'm out. Hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino Is the Name.